Hey there, Carol D'Annunzio here from Simple Catholic Living. Today, first of all, happy Saturday. I don't normally do lives on Saturday, but I wanted to do one today because March is National Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. And that's kind of something that is important to me because I have cerebral palsy. You may or may not know that if you've been following me for any length of time. And it's not really something that I talk about or make a big deal about, but I just wanted to do a short video just to kind of tell you a little bit about cerebral palsy and then a little bit about how it affects me. So when I was diagnosed when I was 2 years old. And I was told that it was a lack of oxygen before, during, or after birth. And now they think that only a small percentage of people are actually diagnosed with cerebral palsy through that means, through lack of oxygen. Now it happens to be some kind of brain damage that happens either, again, before, during, or after birth. And it's kind of a wide range kind of a condition because it affects people completely differently, everybody differently. It can affect your muscles, your muscle strength, your coordination, your nerves. It can your balance, your the way you speak, the way you hear. It affects can affect any part of your body and your mind, but each person, like I said, gets affected differently. Like for me, I'm very fortunate in the sense that I have a mild case of cerebral palsy. And if you've ever seen cerebral palsy, either you've heard about it or you've known somebody, or a lot of times when you think of cerebral palsy, it's somebody that is in a wheelchair, that doesn't have a lot of motor function, that needs, a lot of care. And then if you ever saw the show on, I think it's on one of the network channels called Speechless, one of the main characters there, JJ, has cerebral palsy, and you'll see that he's in a wheelchair and he can't function and he can't speak. And then you have people that are, more towards mine, which is more mild. I'm fortunate where I can walk. There were times when I couldn't, but I can walk. It affects my coordination. My balance is pretty terrible, pretty awful. I have like an auditory disability where it's hard to process things that I hear sometimes. You can kind of tell even in my voice because I kind of like either hesitate or do some kind of like stuttering, or sometimes I pause to process what I have to say to get it out type of a thing. That's how I'm affected. It affects my whole right side, and I walk pretty funny. I do have a cane. I didn't always have one, but there was a time for about a year when I was in one of those motor scooters because I couldn't walk. But I can walk now. I kind of like waddle when I walk, and I kind of sometimes my body will just like jerk involuntarily. And you'll see like with the videos, you notice that I kind of walk, go back and forth, or I'll be jittery or whatever. That's all part of the condition with cerebral palsy. But I want to clear up a couple of misconceptions because, people who have cerebral palsy, it affects them in many ways, but they're not stupid. I used to hear retarded a lot when I was a kid, and besides being hurtful, it's not true. So many people who have cerebral palsy are actually really, really smart. And it's, for one thing, it's not contagious. Okay, you can't get it from somebody else. It's not hereditary. It's not, you're not necessarily going to have it. My son doesn't have it. And it's not something to be feared or kind of pushed aside. It is permanent. It's not something that can ever be taken away. It can't be cured. But it is manageable. And a lot of times it's just a matter of managing, the symptoms of cerebral palsy, whatever they are for other people, for certain people. I know when I was a kid, oh my goodness, I had a lazy eye, and I had surgery right before I started high school, actually. So I had one of those lazy eyes that went kind of weird, and I had to wear a patch over this eye, and then I have to do like certain exercises that if I don't do them, then I can't walk. Sometimes I can't even get out of bed. And oh my goodness, I put my mom and my dad, but my mom specifically, through heck, because I hated doing those exercises. I had to do all like these stretches, and she would stretch my body out and my legs, and it would be like, and it hurt, and it was just, it was terrible. But I don't like to compare, but thank God I don't have it as bad as some other people, so I can't really complain. But for me, living with it, I just it was hard because I was bullied a lot when I was in school. Kids can be cruel, and when you walk funny and you're not the same as other people, sometimes kids can be cruel. They used to make fun of the way I walk. They would call me names. They would, they would just do all sorts of things. But then I had my family, who was amazing. My mother, like I said, poor thing, she's the one that had to put up with me when I was, crying and yelling and not wanting to do the exercises, and, in pain, and when I would wake up with my legs in spasms and things like that. And then as I got older, I was like, I actually would never even say the word. I just said I had a leg problem, because I didn't want to be different. I wanted to fit in, and I hated not being able to do some of the things that other kids can do. So I kind of would force myself to try and, do what everyone else did. Running was a joke. I kind of run like all wacky, but I would do everything I could to not bring attention to what I had to deal with the cerebral palsy. And then as I got older, and I, kind of turned my life back to the Lord, and I actually spent several years discerning a religious vocation with the Little Sisters of the Poor, and they're a beautiful group of sisters. And it didn't bother them that I had the cerebral palsy. It doesn't matter if you have a vocation, right? So that was actually when I was with them, is when I couldn't walk because I was in a motor scooter. The work that they do is demanding. It wasn't, the prayers or the schedule. They take care of the elderly poor, and that was proved to be way too much for me physically. But I learned a lot about myself, and I've come to accept myself for who I am. And it is what it is, right? We all have our cross to bear, and for me, one of my crosses is having cerebral palsy and all that comes with it. Whether it's the leg pains, the spasms, the hearing or the talking or whatever it is. But anyway, like I said, this isn't going to be very long. I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience, because it's good for people to be aware of, other people who may be different to them. And there's a lot of people that are affected with cerebral palsy in various degrees, and have to overcome a lot. So I'd like for you to just, pray for, those who have cerebral palsy, those who have challenges, and for those who care for them. There's some people with cerebral palsy that have a lot of physical issues that people need to take care of them for, and that can weigh on a person, And so anyway, thanks for listening and learning a little bit about cerebral palsy. And just so you know, on Monday I'm going to come back live about 10:30 once Andrew's in his online class, and we're going to start talking about prayer. We talked about almsgiving and fasting and conversion over the last couple of weeks, and now we're going to switch gears onto prayer. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is prayer and why it's important. So I hope you'll join me here again, Monday, 10:30. And also don't forget, I would love to get to know you and chat with you. I will put the link below this video again, but I would love to get on a call with you. No sales, no nothing but just pure conversation. Just wanted to, get to know you, get to know your faith journey, how I can support you, better. And I hope you will do that. I hope you'll get on my, schedule and get on a call with me. All right, I'll talk to you soon. God bless.